Good morning, everybody. My name is Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2023. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody. All right? Be my Valentine, whatever. I won't sing anymore. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, have a good one. Whatever. All right, we have a good show for you today, which my good friend Randi, who's the wonderful CEO of Capstone Publishing. We titled the show today "The Importance of Loving Literacy and Reading." Okay, and that's what we got to do. We got to teach kids to love reading and love literacy from the very beginning. It's all about love, and that's what we're going to be talking about today with Randi, who I'll get to in just a minute. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org, and that is our home website for our American Consortium for Equity in Education. We do a lot for equity. We publish a wonderful magazine that's an online journal over there called Equity and Access Pre-K-12, and if you go over there, you will see that the new issue that's up there, just click on the cover, all right, is all about our equity award winners. Colleagues of yours, educators from all over the country, are honored, as well as a lot of companies in there. So please check it all out. It's really a nice issue. We're very proud of it and happy to honor the people that won those equity awards. Okay, it's really nice. SEL Today is over there, seltoday.org. You can link to, as well as teacher-retention.com. And also, of course, all these podcasts are archived over there. So it's a good website. We hope you take a minute and to go over there. Everything we do over there, by the way, is free, and we're happy to give you a subscription to the online journal. And just go over and sign up. Again, it's free. We're not going to bother you. It's all at ace-ed.org. Okay, so now let me introduce you for a return visit, one of the great female leaders, okay, in education, okay, and that's my friend Randi Economou, who's the CEO of Capstone Publishing. Hi, Randi, it's Larry here. How you doing?
Good
Happy
morning.
Valentine's Day.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for the lovely serenade. It's a great way to start the day.
Be my Valentine.
I love it.
Are you waiting for your Are you waiting for your flowers and your chocolate?
I am ready for them. I think you're going to have my doorbell ring in just a minute.
There you go.
So, but the serenade was lovely, so thank you.
Well, it's like you're getting a singing telegram, which nobody even knows what I'm talking about when I say that. Okay, you know what a singing telegram is, Randi?
I know what a telegram is. I will tell you that.
They used to back in the 30s and 40s. You could have a guy who would deliver the telegram and then sing the message to you, like "Happy Birthday to you." Okay, there you go. Singing telegram.
You know, I think vintage has a lot of character, and I love it. No, it's neat. I do know about the telegrams, but I did not know there were singing telegrams.
There were singing telegrams.
Kind of fun.
It's all a thing of the past. I used to be a history teacher. That's where we are so far. All right. Hey, this is great. We're going to talk about loving reading, teaching kids to love reading, teaching kids to love literacy. But just tell everybody about Capstone. Your CEO, brag. Go ahead. Madam CEO.
So Capstone, I mean, the heart of what we do is about engaging kids to read, and we love what we do. We're a 30-year publisher, over 30 years now, and we're trusted and we're loved, and we inspire kids to read and read more often, and then we know we open pathways and doors to their life. So we're a company that geeks out about reading. We're based in Minnesota, but we're worldwide, and about a third of the schools in the nation use Capstone. We probably have about 10.5 million learners every day that log into our solutions, and a print book, at least one print book in every library in the U.S. and even abroad. So it's fun. We have a huge responsibility.
Wow, I didn't know all that. That's really cool. I got to tell you. That's some great statistics. And, we're the Consortium for Equity. This is Education Talk Radio, our broadcasting arm. And what draws us to you, and I got to tell you, is the first thing on your website, which, by the way, everybody, is capstonepub.com. And this is what we're all about, because our equity and access, the first thing up there is learning is for everyone. Everyone.
Absolutely.
And just talk, it is. And talk about, before we get into the details of this, talk about how important the whole idea of diversity is and access to learning for every kid is, and how they have to kind of see themselves in what they're reading. Just talk about that and how Capstone goes after it.
Well, I'll tell you, representation matters, and it matters every day and every way.
Yep.
And we take the idea that reading can open windows and doors to the world very seriously. And, if you get close to our content, you'll see that we have content that, is for all kids, for them to see themselves in what they're doing. We have a child named Yasmin, who is a Pakistani American. We have a lovely little girl named Emma. My daughter's name is also Emma, and she uses a cochlear implant. We have characters like Liam, who lives on the Ojibwa reservation. We want kids to see the world and see themselves so that they can grow and learn. And, we're proud of the strong selection of diverse characters and authors that we've brought to life in our chapter books. And we know that it matters that kids have access to, that they can read anywhere, anytime, that they can have scaffolds that help them read if they're unable to read on their own. We are about doing what we can to bridge the literacy gap to make it possible that all children can learn and grow. Because when you think about it, you need to learn to read first. And when you can fall in love with reading, then when you're reading to learn, you can go so much farther in your journey. And so for us, representation matters, and we know it matters to kids. We know it matters to the world that we live in, and we're pretty excited about what we do from that standpoint. Thank you.
You should be.
Thank you.
And you just said something that struck me as so important. If you teach kids to love reading from the very beginning, when you can first possibly do that, even before school, okay, when you can do that, if they love reading, they're going to. You can use that to get them to love learning. Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's a key thing. That's a key bridge right there. Okay, and that's why it's so important. And talk about what you guys are doing and why it's important to talk to. We always talk about reading, and we talk about reading kind of. You have to be reading at the right level by third or fourth grade. We usually say third. Okay, but if we want to accomplish that, as you know, the NAEP scores weren't that good, so there's a lot of controversy out there, okay, about science of reading and all that sort of stuff, all right? But the key to it all is to get into their heads beforehand, all right? And just talk about that early reading experience and how you guys helped to accomplish that goal.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about this because we have so much passion about it. So we love creating content for all kinds and all ages of kids, but I have to tell you it is extra special when at Capstone we can help a student get off to a great start in their reading life. Yeah. And so even without knowing it, when you look at some of our online resources, so we have an amazing solution called Pebble Go that is really a repository of, research opportunities for the earliest readers. And when you look really closely at that solution, you probably wouldn't even notice it, but it's just the right navigation for a kindergarten student, K-2 student, just the right text for them. It's correlated to what they need to know in school, so teachers love it. We make it so that it can read aloud. So when you think of our students that are emerging readers, or maybe students that are born into families where there may not be a fluent reader in the home, we build in scaffolds in our solutions so that every child can learn. And, I know you've been on our website and you've been looking at it, but I'll tell you when right on our website, we talk about, we quote Pamela Paul and Maria Russo of the New York Times when they suggest that no matter a topic or a story, an early reader book should make reading seem like a club that your child wants to be part of. What better way to make a child feel part of something than seeing themselves in the pages of the book? We know that we need to create content that is exciting for students that they want to read. And that gets into the high interest. I think last time I was with you, I talk to you about the Pukey Book of Vomit, and I still owe you that book. But we think about high interest kinds of topics.
I forgot about that.
I love to get you laughing, Larry.
Yeah, you do. Say it again.
The Pukey Book of Vomit. The Pukey Book of Vomit. We've got Richard the Picker. We've got the Slimy Book of Snot. But seriously, we live by the mantra that we need to build content that kids love and educators trust. And so in some of our topics, you'll see things like, sports and biographies and graphic novels and appropriately spooky books. But here's one that I'll give you. We don't just have a book on the Revolutionary War, but we get kids hooked right from the get-go by calling it the dirty, gritty, stinky Revolutionary War.
Ooh,
so we have a
muddy,
blast, and we want kids to fall in love. Yep, fall in love with reading. So
right. And if you do it and you have fun with it, they will learn. I mean, they will learn, and this is the trick. Okay, where I got to ask you this: where's the sweet spot? And this is an interesting question. Is it in schools or libraries? Okay, I'm curious about that.
Reading happens everywhere. So we, as a company, you can see our books, distributed on Amazon, and you can, Amazon, Google, Target, Walmart. We have amazing distribution partners that distribute our content, but knowing that kids spend most of their time at school, we focus on a direct sales force that goes right into every school library in the nation and steers our content for kids because we know our content is quality. We know that we get them hooked on learning and they don't even know it. They become, in our world, we want them to become voracious consumers of content, to love what they're reading, and then, oh, by the way, they're learning along the way.
Yeah.
It's an awesome situation to be in. So I would say reading happens everywhere, learning happens everywhere, and everywhere matters. So at home, at school, in the community, anywhere they can access content.
Yeah, and you just reminded me of something. We always have to support school libraries and school librarians. Okay, that is
absolutely
just such an important factor in all this. Okay, and sometimes we forget that. And on that note, as you're talking to the schools these days, what's the word on libraries? Just from your point of view, are they using them as much as they should?
Oh my goodness! So librarians are the champions of literacy in their buildings.
I won't argue that.
They make a huge difference, and there's a lot going on in their world right now, and to pick the just right books and to make sure that they're connecting students, that they're really being champions of the learning and the reading that needs to happen. And so they support us, and we listen, and we learn from them, and we support them. And some states are not affording librarians, and Capstone would love to see librarians in every school, but every child would have access to a librarian that can help them fall in love with literacy and fall in love with reading and learning. And so we're thankful for the relationships we do have, and we are welcome. We want to support and help our librarians out there and make their jobs easier, give them access to our content so they can preview it and read it and make sure they're picking out the appropriate books for their community and for the children that they serve.
It's just so important, and they're under a lot of pressure right now, and I'm so glad you said all that because they are just such a vital link in education, and sometimes people don't understand that. Okay, and we just got to keep pushing that, et cetera, et cetera. You wrote down a couple of questions you wanted me to ask you, and I love the questions you wrote. Okay, I'm going to ask you one of them right now. Okay, we talked about today's Valentine's Day. We want kids to love reading, but you asked me to ask you this: what does it look like? And I love this question. What does it look like when kids fall in love with reading? And that's a great question.
Wow.
What does it look like?
Wow, thank you for asking that. I'll tell you, the beauty of all of it is it doesn't look like just one thing. I mean, it is individual for each and every student that absolutely learns to fall in love with reading. But I'll tell you, as a former teacher, taught English in Phoenix, Arizona, high school level, but you can see it, you can spot it. The best moments are when you see a child have that light bulb turn on. And, when I think of falling in love with reading, you're really falling in love with learning. And so I know that my teacher friends out there, my colleagues around the nation know that there's no greater joy or no better moment when we spot it happening. And I'll tell you, you can see it when a reader finds something that delights them, that they get immersed in, if you will, and then it can dovetail with existing experiences and interests that can open their eyes to something they had never considered or seen before. But it's very, very special, and I love it even more. And I'll tell you, some of these early readers, like when they can fall in love with a character. Some of the children write fan mail to our characters because they think our characters are real and they want to help our characters write books. So it's so neat when they fall in love with a character or they become a mini expert on something like sports or animals or even fashion, whatever they're interested in doing. And that's the beauty of what we set out to do at Capstone. We want to make content for every reader. But it is a beautiful thing, and it is so important for kids to fall in love with reading because it changes their lives. It's something I'll never get tired of talking about because it changes their lives, and, the more they read, the more they'll achieve. And I am so blessed that my life's work gives me such a motivational fit. It's not just work, but it is giving something back. It's making a difference in the world, and that's how we feel about it at Capstone.
Yeah, well, I know you do, and I got to tell you something, Rand. Yeah, I didn't know you were a English teacher in the Phoenix schools, and you're a classic and a great example, okay, of how educators, okay, stay in the business. You don't have to be in the classroom to stay in education. And you were a classroom teacher in Phoenix. Now you're the CEO of a major publishing house in education. And that's just an amazing track. I got to congratulate you on that. That's just wonderful.
Thank you.
It's really something. Who knew when you started out, who knew? Okay. And I always say that to teachers. There's a lot of places to go in education. Okay. And Randy's a classic example of that. I just got to tell you, it's just something we got to always think about. It's so good to see when the kids fall in love with reading, and there's something else about that. And you kind of just touched on that. We're so worried about losing teachers. So teacher retention. There's a shortage of teachers, etc. And what makes a teacher stay in teaching? One of the great things is to see that light bulb go off, to realize you're making a difference, and the tools are out there. Okay, if a kid loves reading and a kid loves learning, they're going to love being in your class. Okay, and as a teacher, you pick up on that. Okay, that matters.
Right.
Okay, so from the very beginning, all this piles one thing on top of the other, and it has a lot of implications down the line. There's a lot of layers to the onion. And we got to make sure that's why it's so important. And preschool, et cetera, to get a good foundation of learning, et cetera, and get the right tools in there, just so important. You had another question, which I just loved. I'm going to say it this way. You said some people debate about what real reading is, okay? And this is a great question. Is print the only way? What about audiobooks? What about magazines? What about newspapers? Okay, when you say they're reading, okay, what are we talking about here, Randy? In your opinion?
Well, that's a great question, and this is what I'll say just from the get-go is that when you think of literacy, what it really takes to be productive, growing, citizens of the world, if you will, we have to look at literacy as something that is expansive, something that all kids need the skill of literacy. And really, my answer to you would be it all counts. I mean, when we think about the way information comes to us, it comes in all sorts of ways, from pictures that a child might see in a Lego set to, I know I'm terrible at these IKEA instruction manuals, but, text on paper, text on screens, video, audio, it all matters. And so we really need children to have the skill of foundational literacy in, all sorts of media, if you will. But one thing that doesn't get brought up enough is that the somewhat false debate over what real reading is, and that there is equity and representation issues at play. Is the student who reads, when we think about a child who reads in Braille, any less of a reader than a student who can see print? Is a student that has a print disability any less of a reader because they need audio support to making meaning, from their text. And so literacy is huge. I mean, there is so much to consider. And when we think about reaching all children, it really means all children, giving them opportunities to read and grow. And so this is a big one, and this is something we do every day at Capstone. Yep. It really is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's huge when you think about it because, kids, and we know this for a fact, kids learn differently. All right? And it brings up the difference. And I don't know how to explain it because I'm not an expert in reading like you are. Okay? But the difference, and this is key, between reading and literacy. Okay? And for example, okay, a blind child may not be able to read. That would be the extreme example of this. Okay? But they can certainly be literate by listening to an audiobook and getting the information.
Absolutely.
And what's interesting is as you put together various books at Capstone, you have to take that into consideration. Where are we on this? Is it important? Is the message of the book more important than the way the kids get the message? These are heavy philosophical questions. When you sit down with your team, how do you make those decisions? That's really an interesting decision. I never thought about it.
It really is. Right, no, it is. But we just know central to why reading needs to happen is that kids need to make meaning of what they're reading. And, when we think about when each child, regardless of their situation or circumstances, when they can become successful, independent learners, and when they feel that they're successful while they're learning and they're having fun and they're being engaged, we've motivated them to learn. And, it's the best vicious cycle in the whole world. And so we have a world-class, amazing group of authors and editors and
you do.
Publishers and proofreaders, and they every day set out to follow our life's work. And, it's not just it goes way beyond our mission. I mean, it's our passion. It's what we love to do. We forget it's work sometimes at Capstone. We work very hard, and I'm so proud of our team, but it takes a lot of people to consider those kinds of decisions and make the best one. But we will continue to publish content and to build resources and tools and digital solutions that will reach all children, give them access to literacy regardless of their circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, it is what you guys do, I'm trying to put this into perspective here, it's so darn important on the trail to literacy, on the trail to learning, on the trail to success. You got to make these kids feel good. You got to energize them to love what they're doing. And which brings up an interesting point. I know you work with authors and all that, and I don't know how that works. Do they give their ideas to you, or do you give ideas to them? But what are the hot things that kids are loving to read right now? Okay, what's the
my goodness.
Stuff? Yeah.
So they're loving, graphic novels. They're loving I mean, one of our most popular titles and why we keep building more are these scary, appropriately scary, spooky, growth books. I mean, they at Capstone, we think laughing matters. We really love to hear kids giggle and laugh and see them smile when they're reading and when we're asking them about what they're reading. They love books a lot. When you think of some of the most reluctant readers, some of them are, the little boys out there that need to be connected with content that's exciting to them. So we try to build a lot of sports books and a lot of books that they can, just identify with a sports hero. A lot of how-to books, a lot of books that it's really tough to answer, but I would say scary growth, graphic novels, books with compelling characters that get kids excited. But it's a lot of fun. We need to have you read some of our books, Larry, because I think you would enjoy them too, for sure.
I would, because they're good stories, And actually, you just brought up something that was terrific. I have to ask you this, Madam CEO. Okay.
Yes.
you said that the boys love sports, okay? But this is important for a publisher to understand, and I know you guys do. Okay, girls love sports too. They get they go to college with scholarships too. Okay, do we put enough girls into the sports books? Let me ask that.
Oh, we absolutely do. We absolutely do. And the reason I said, some of the
don't be defensive. I didn't mean that way. It struck me as really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have plenty of girls that are in sports and all different kinds of sports, and we think that's important too. We really do. And kids that are in all types of sports, even children that have special circumstances that are playing sports. I mean, we want children to see the world around them, and we know that representation matters.
It does.
I know it that. Does. Yeah, we absolutely do.
It reminded me, Rand, when my son, who's now 40, was a child, 2 to 3 years old or something, used to like to watch mommy cook. Okay, so I thought, that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. I will go get him, okay, like a play stove or something, a play oven, whatever you call it. Okay, that'd be fun.
Right.
Yeah. So I went to the toy store. This is when we lived in Chicago, and I asked about it. It was in the young girls department. Okay,
mm-hmm.
and I said to the guy, I said, "This is in the young girls department, but the best chefs in the world, if I may, back in those days, were men." Okay, think about it. Okay, which I just realized I got myself into trouble, but there were a hell of a lot of chefs that were men. Okay, and I said, why is it in the girls' department? Of course, the guy had no answer. All right, and that's the trap, and I just fell into it myself that we fall into. We unknowingly we stereotype. Okay, and that's the fight that you guys lead the way on to overcome that. Is say, no, wait, and I know you do this. Sports are for boys, sports are for girls, cooking's for boys, cooking's for girls. Yeah, it's and that's got to be drilled in from the beginning. It's important.
Absolutely. It is important. And, I when I was in high school, I wanted to take a class on, how to take care of my car, but I wasn't allowed to do it because there weren't any girls in that class. And
God. I'm
not kidding. And so I go to college and I blow my head gasket, right? I run out of water and oil in my car, and I should have taken the bill back to the school district, but I didn't.
There's your next book, There's your next book, Susie the Mechanic.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I think it's a good idea. But you asked,
there
you go. You asked if we create, our topics or our content, or if our editors and, authors and publishers, authors and illustrators do. And it's a little bit of both, but it's a lot of listening out there to our, librarians and educators and, distributors around that know what kids are reading and what they're interested in. So it's a whole cycle, and it's really a lot of fun to plan new series. And we get together and we're very careful about what the covers look like and what's included in the book. And there's lots of people involved and really pour over these decisions, absolutely pour over the decisions. So it's a good time. It really is.
It is. And, this is the way we change things and make it better. I meant to ask you something. You're talking about Pebble Go before, okay? And I went, what is it, PebbleGo.com, I think it is, and I went there.
Yeah.
PebbleGo, one word, .com, and I went there, and I think I read this right, that's more than books. It's more a curriculum. I just want you to talk about that for a second.
What's
Pebble Go?
An amazing hub of content for kids, and it's written just right. So at the K2 level, it could be an expansive, learning about it's all nonfiction, and can provide multiple ways for students to learn. So there could be an article that's connected with a video that is connected with some literature or information to expand the learning. But when you think of our earliest researchers, think about college kids going to a library or doing research on the internet. We want our youngest kids to learn how to research and learn how to grow and expand their knowledge. And so, Pebble Go, simplest way to describe Pebble Go is, nonfiction articles, and they're in English and Spanish, and they're on topics that kids need to learn and understand. And then right there within the program, it does provide extensions to the learning. And of course, articles are one moment in time, and then when kids find something they're really interested in, it's super easy to find a book that takes them deeper into the learning and, you know, lets them learn and grow, because we want them to inquire and to wonder and to love what they're reading. So we built it in 2009, and it is just caught on, and teachers and librarians and children love it. And so,
what grades is it for?
So it starts out at K2, and then we have Pebble Go Next for grades 3 and 5, and
cool.
It's packed with informational articles and, you know, activities.
That's really
and
cool. I love that.
Literacy support. Thank you.
I love that.
If you read one article every day.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked the question. Was it the nonfiction side? Okay, that's really cool.
Yes. Well, we love nonfiction. We know that connects kids to learning, and our goal is to make nonfiction that is appealing and exciting, you know, back to that Revolutionary War versus, you know, the way that we talk about it, dirty, gritty,
the muddy, stinking, lousy Revolutionary War.
Stinky Revolutionary War, but I like your title too. That could have been a contender.
You know, all ask anybody who's ever been in one. They don't want to go to another one. Wars are not fun. Okay, and the title. No. Okay, now they might have a good purpose. I'm not arguing that. They are not fun. Okay, and when you come up with the right adjectives, you're doing a good job. Okay, you're doing a good job. Okay, it's just it's just great stuff. It really is. Okay, and no war in history has ever been fun either, I might add. Okay, they're fun. This is great. I love how we're going to do another one, I think, in a month or so. But I got to tell you, I just love talking to you about this stuff, because to me, it's so important. I know your company, and they're so involved in this equity and access, which is what we're so involved in here. Okay, it just makes me happy when you come on the show. We can talk about it in detail. Thanks.
Well, thank you. I love being here, and happy Valentine's Day, and let's fall in love with reading today and fall in love with literacy. You want to sing one more time, Larry, or are we out of time?
Be my Valentine. Oh, God. People pay me not to sing. People pay me not to sing, Randi. Okay. It's a horrible experience.
I've got roses and chocolate at the door, too, so you better get them, huh?
And a singing telegram.
Yes, I can't wait.
Look it up. I'm telling you, there's got to be something funny on the internet about it, but they used to be real.
I will.
Okay. Thanks, Rand. This is great. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you later.
Much. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Okay, sounds great. Bye.
Always makes me laugh. Okay, I think she's wonderful. That's Randi Economou, okay, who is the CEO. And I want to say that again. There's a lot of great female CEOs in this industry, okay? And it's an industry that's open, okay, to that. I think it's just great, okay? And because, you know, what is it, something like 75, 80% of teachers are female, all right? So the industry has to reflect that, all right? And I think Randi's just a great example of that. Okay, I got to say, it's capstonepub.com, and it's pebblegO.com, and that was interesting. I'm glad I asked that question. We'll archive over at ace-ed.org. Everything we do over there is free for you, the educator, so please take advantage. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Larry Jacobs. Happy Valentine's Day. I will see you.